So before you enter a single transaction in Xero, or really any accounting software, you have to talk about the foundation. And the foundation is the chart of accounts, or COA for short. So today I'm going to show you how to set that up in Xero using an imported file, which is by far the easiest way because of the number of accounts. Now, keep in mind with the chart of accounts and the importance of it. So when you don't have a detailed chart of accounts, you don't know exactly where your money should be tracked. You don't know where it should go. Think about it like separate filing cabinets, right? For those who remember what filing cabinets are, giant, cube stacks that you would put your files in to organize them, right? So that's what your chart of accounts is. You put these, every transaction, every categorized transaction goes into a specific bucket and a specific account, so that way you know and you have clarity for when you look at your reports, right? So if you have a bad or imperfect chart of accounts, you're going to have a bad or imperfect report. If you have a good and detailed chart of accounts, then the opposite is true. The inverse is true. You're going to have more details for your reports because you're going to know exactly where your money is going each month. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing that we're going to do is import the file. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Xero. Let me go ahead and minimize myself. Okay. So we're going to go into Xero. I'm in the demo account as I was last time. We're going to go to Chart of Accounts under Accounting, the Accounting menu. Now, as you can see, I already have an imported chart of accounts, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So the first thing we do is we go to Import, and we're going to see what you're importing from, and that would be Xero. That's really the only option. Does the file you're importing contain account balances? For a lot of you, that would be a yes. For the demo account, we're going to select no. And if you're setting this up for the very first time, you can select no as well, so you're not carrying any balances. That's actually going to be important for your reconciliations later if you select no and you start fresh. But if you're doing like a catch-up or a cleanup job and you need to carry balances, then you would select yes there. So we're going to hit Browse. Okay, and I have my file ready here, my chart of accounts. So you find that. I'm using a MacBook. If you're in Windows, it would obviously pull up the Windows File Explorer instead of Finder in MacBook. You hit Import. Okay, so obviously I have already set this up as I told you just a minute ago, but it'll tell you here which accounts are excluded. They have to be coded a very specific way on the import sheet, otherwise it's not going to import correctly. So you want to go ahead and make sure that all your ducks are in a row there. This is what it's going to look like. Let me go ahead and minimize that and maximize my numbers sheet. So you're going to have, out of the way. Okay. So here you're going to have the code, which is the account number essentially for Xero, and then you have in the column B you have the name of the account. Try to be as detailed as possible without being overwhelming because this is something that you actually have to look at. The C column is going to be the type of asset, the type of liability, the type of account, essentially. So you got your bank accounts, accounts receivable, current assets, fixed assets, accounts payable, liabilities. So you just want to make sure that that's right because that's extremely important. Column D, you have your tax, the tax code. It will not import without this. So you can go ahead and do tax exempt probably for each of these. For me, I have it set to tax on purchases or tax exempt depending on the type of account. So you would go ahead and do that. In column E, you have the description of the account. This is optional. It's an optional column. You don't necessarily have to have this. I prefer to have this and my clients to have this, so that way we have a description of the account. So, for instance, like short-term rental accounts and STR platforms for Airbnb and Vrbo, earnest money deposits, EMDs on properties under contract. So, like, just a short description of what the account is used for, so you can reference it later when you need to know what exactly you're using the chart of accounts for, and when you're tracking your expenses, you're tracking your income, you can go ahead and have that as a reference. So you would hit confirm there, and it would import the account. So I can go ahead and show you. Plus, it would take about a minute to do to go ahead and import. And this is what it looks like after it's imported. So here we have your bank accounts usually at the top. Those are the ones that you're going to have the lowest number code, so that way they're more easily referenced. And then there are certain accounts that have to be in there regardless for Xero. So, for instance, accounts receivable, that's a lock account, so it can't be. It's always going to be there. Accounts payable, the same. There's about like 10 accounts that are considered lock accounts that can't be deleted. So you would just go ahead and leave those on there, even if you don't use them. Also, you would want to make sure that if you don't see an account, that you would just go ahead and manually add it. So for instance, let's say that one of the accounts couldn't be imported for whatever reason, like the coding was off, but only for that one account. You could go ahead and manually add it instead of starting over the import. So for instance, if you had this account, security deposits payable, you would just go up to here, simply add account, do the account type. So for that, that's an asset. Or excuse me, that's a liability, the payable account. So you would go ahead and add a liability account, the code, whatever that ends up being, 2120, we'll say that. Okay, has to be available. We'll say 2125. Name of the account, security, payable, description of the account, account for security deposits held. You would select the tax category. For this, we're going to do tax exempt. And then you would hit save there. And that's it. Oh, it has to be again. This is just an example. So you hit save. And if you need to quickly search for an account, you can do that here. So we'll just look for the one that we just created, 2125, in there. I'm going to go ahead and delete it just so I don't mess anything up later. Right, and that's how you import the chart of accounts. So that way you have your filing cabinets set up, ready to go in Xero, and that way when you're running your financial reports, it's all in the right categories. The chart of accounts, extremely important. So one thing I want to mention, I do have on my website, laneledgercompany.com, I have a free chart of accounts import that you can use. And it's in PDF form, but you can manually convert that to a CSV, and that way it can be very easily imported into Xero when you're ready to use it. And now, if you are a real estate investor and you're watching this, it's absolutely essential that the chart of accounts is as accurate and detailed as possible, because as you know, there are plenty of accounts for a real estate investment that are not there and typically aren't set up correctly by the standard bookkeeper. So you would want to make sure that all the accounts are there. It's usually about 80 plus accounts that you would use, depending on your strategy. Like if you're diversified in your portfolio, then you're probably going to have, the more diversified you are, the more accounts that you're going to have, because a rental portfolio is going to have a completely different set of accounts than like a fix and flip portfolio, right? So, because it's separated based on tax purposes, and rental income is more long-term, so you're going to have a lot of current and non-current fixed assets. You're going to have a lot of current and non-current liabilities as well. So you would want to make sure that everything is set up the way it should be based on the strategy, right? So the good thing about the chart of accounts template that I have at my website is it's, well, other than it being free, is that it's actually hard coded specifically for Xero, so that way it's ready to go, and it's for a diversified portfolio of investments. But the good thing is you can always, if there's an account that is not there that you need, and because no one's perfect, then you can simply edit and go about your business. Anyways, until next time. One thing, go ahead, and if you are wanting more information, go ahead and book a free discovery call at laneledgercompany.com. I'll also share my calendar link as well if you want to go ahead and schedule that. I'd love to meet you, talk about your portfolio, and how I can help, because I just want to help, get you where you need to go with your financial tracking, with uh, with your operations, right? Because without operations, a business cannot function. So yeah, until next time, have a great day, and we'll see you later.